being born in 1929, he was 1 month after he was born, the Great Depression started. So you can imagine the times for the next 10 years of his life, how life evolved and things changed. When he was born, a dozen of eggs was 45 cents. A month of insurance was $7.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, no kidding. Average annual income was just under $1,600 a year.
A year.
A year. And the median cost of a home was just over $7,000 for a house. Gas was 25 cents a gallon. Milk was 14 cents a gallon. And a postage stamp was 2 cents.
The good old days.
The good old days. A brand new car, $643.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a lower radiator hose on a dirt.
That's right, yeah.
When they're running.
During the Great Depression, Dad recalls times when you couldn't buy a candy bar. There was chocolate rations, and in order to get a candy bar, it had to be a unique situation.
You had to pay your bill.
Yeah, there you go. They got a free candy bar if they paid their bill to school. And gasoline, you needed a special card to buy gasoline just regardless. And you'd only buy it 5 gallons at a time. Also, shortly after the Depression was over and the war started, Dad can recall rolling blackouts for the government asked us to do that back then. The thought was if they could turn all the lights out, if we were going to get bombed, they wouldn't know where the cities were, so they would practice rolling blackouts. Putting some perspective on his age versus current people, when Dad was Brody's age, his brother Floyd broke his arm and was sent up to the orthopedic surgeon up in Seattle for a year. So he was out of the house for a year. There was only a handful of times Dad was able to go up there and visit his brother, and they would not let any of the boys go upstairs, so the only way he could talk to him was Floyd would stick his head out the window of the hospital and talk to him. I just thought that was interesting perspective to have your sibling gone for a year with a broken arm.
That's crazy.
When Dad was Madison's age, his oldest brother was drafted into World War II and served under General Patton. I can't imagine having one of my siblings shipped off to one of the wars that, I mean, the percentage of people that came back was pretty low. Had to be a frightening time. When Dad was Logan's age, he won a 4-H trip to Chicago and took about 2 to 3 days on a train to get there, spent a week in Chicago, and then rode the train back right out of Centralia. I thought that was an interesting fact. You don't hear about those kind of things very often, but I'm picturing now sending Logan off to Chicago for a week, and
Yeah, no.
right.
Even worse.
So in 1948, Dad graduated high school, and then thought he'd work in the mill for a year, and then decided, I'm going to go back to school. Good choice. Good choice. So he graduated from Centralia College after the first 2 years in 1951, and he took some boxing courses while he was there. May or may not had a couple of run-ins at Sweet Hall throughout the years, practicing those skills. There's a rumor that went around that he may have gotten into it one night with a guy who was getting into it with one of Mom's brothers, and he may have come away with a couple of bruises in the face and had to go drive a bus the next morning for school. But there was snow on the ground, so school was canceled, but he didn't know that. So he got in the bus to drive out. The superintendent came out to tell him there was no school, and then they realized that, geez, what happened to you?
The other guy.
Yeah, right. I do recall as a kid, Dad sitting in front of the TV, and you could not get in between him and the boxing match. He'd yank his socks up, and man, he was just going at it.
Smoking Joe.
After college in Centralia, he went to UW.
Oh, sorry.
In that time there, he had met Mom, and one of the first nights they met was at Sweet Hall. And Dad had a couple of beers and asked if he could drive her home one night. And Mom said, "No, you've been drinking. Not riding with you." They met around 4th of July, 1952. And he was around Brianna's age at that time. In March of 1953, they got married. They moved into a house in Seattle. I found the Google Maps picture of that. And that is the house that they moved into when they were right after they were married. Dad was going to college and working at Shell to work his way through college. And in September of 1953, they'd been married in March of 53. September 1953, Dad was drafted into the Korean War. And he moved to Monterey, California. After basic training, Mom moved down there, and they lived in that house.
Can you pass those around, like start
Yeah,
at
sure.
Gavin and pass those around?
It's hard to believe they're still standing.
Yeah, I assume the house in Monterey has probably changed a little bit over the years. But yeah, those are the houses that they moved into. So in Monterey, Debbie and Dewey were both born down there. Christmas in 1953, Dad got a 3-day pass plus the holiday, so they were going to be down for 5 days. So they decided to drive from Monterey back to Olympia for Christmas.
Before the interstates.
Before the interstate, had to
Yeah.
drive through every town. It was 24 hours to drive from Monterey to here. Mom and Dad and 2 other couples. Mom was pregnant with Debbie. 24 hours straight. Dad was taking no-dos so he could stay awake the whole trip.
They called that cocaine back then.
No bathroom breaks once you get gas, Grandma.
6 people in the 1950 Chevrolet driving through every town. Good times. How long that was?
Yeah, I just.
You could be anywhere in the world right now in 24 hours.
Yes.
And now they just wanted to go home. And then throw in the fact, I mean, if you had Debbie in your tummy. Right?
Precious, yes.
So in 1960, Dad was Brandon's age, had 4 kids, all under 6 years old.
Been there, done that.
And at that time, they built a house. 4 kids under 6, built a house in 1960.
You, Donna.
Their house payment, $94 a month.
Oh,
With the insurance.
With the insurance for the next 30 years.
For the next 30 years.
Okay, I have
So-
to ask, were you stressed out about that house payment, or did you feel pretty good and comfortable with $94 a month?
Yeah.
That wasn't too bad? You weren't stressed out? How are you going to make
making
payments?
probably $330.
That's right. Making $330 a month.
You were within the parameters of going to debt.
Proportionate. That's right. Yeah. So when Dad was Nathan's age, Debbie graduated high school. Had a high school senior, a total of 6 kids. I was 3 years old.
Look at Christy.
I can't.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It's called discipline.
I look at these comparisons. You try to put perspective on it, and it's like, holy crap! I can't imagine. 1982. Dad was between my age and Roger's age, and he retired from the state. Had 28 years of service including his military. I'm a long ways from retirement, so A+ there. A+ there. And
that's what Dave and I were. Yeah. Yeah.
the last comparison, and I think a lot of people here will really relate to this because you'll remember the event. and you'll remember him, and you can relate the age, but when Dad was Roger's age, he walked Sue down the aisle.
Oh.
That just proves he will do anything for anybody.
Yeah.
He will even give someone else's daughter away.
Dang.
I asked Dad to put a list together of things he's done, projects. And we can look at just the kind of man that he is based on this. It's no surprise, but he built the pole barn at Dev and Dave's when they were at Wattle Creek. Built the pole barn on the property next door, basically next to my house. Built the pool house where the swimming pool is. Built the pole barn at Roger and Carmen's. Built the pole barn at Guy and Joyce's house in Rochester, and also helped with the preparation of their mobile home. Ditched underground service to Dweez when she lived over there on the other side. On the other side, yeah. And then, what didn't he do down there? A little bit of everything.
I owe him. No.
Helped us put the mobile home in when we put that in. Also helped us tile the ground floor of our house, basically about 800 square feet. Did a remodel of Gary and Donna's shop. Did a roof
That's our
on.
pole barn.
Did the roof on Gary and Donna's mobile home.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting here, out of all that work, he only fell off the roof 4 times. He fell off the pool house, which I remember quite well. He and I were out there. The house in Rochester before
I
they
remember
built the
that.
house in 1960.
Elmer came running over to me, and Dad only had shorts on. I always remember that. It was a hot day.
Carmen took my ladders
Yeah.
away.
I took his ladders away.
Yeah, he fell through the shed and the barn out back.
Yeah.
I'll give him credit there. That was an old building. He never really fell off of it. It was pretty flat.
Call the medics when he broke his ribs.
You called me.
And didn't he fall off the garage?
That's the last one. He
Okay,
did fall
yeah.
off the garage also. Yes. So he doesn't have ladders anymore. We don't allow him to. Although you kicked him off the roof here a couple years ago.
I kicked him off the flagpole the other day.
Towable man lift.
He's working.
Trying to put it up.
I did find over the years that you never mentioned, hey, I was thinking about doing a deck or something, because you'd turn around and he'd have it
Yeah.
going.
Yeah.
On more than one occasion, he did mow one strip through my lawn, because apparently it was time to mow the grass. So, just one pass, and it had to get done.
Subtle hint.
Yeah, right.
Warning, warning.
But I guess this all comes down to there's nothing you wouldn't do for any of us, Dad, and we love you very much and appreciate everything you've done for all of us, and you won't. I guess I can't express how much I love you, and thank you for everything you've done for all of us. You set a hell of an example as a human, as a father for me, and as a grandfather for many of these kids. So congratulations and happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
We get a lot of things done together. So every time we want to do something, we just pick up the phone and everybody's there and helping get something done. The thing that I appreciate the most and probably is the fact that we have a large family, a lot of grandkids, and more great grandkids. So that keeps us busy. We have to stay at home a little more now. Probably most of you know I don't drive until I get my cataracts finished or whatever they're going to do with me. So we end up riding with a lot of people, so we get it done. But it's been a good life for me. I like to keep busy. and probably that shows shows there. But in the long run, if I need anything, I call Dave or Debbie or Dewey or whoever. I just use the phone. So I appreciate everybody coming today, and it's been like I say, it's been a good life for me, and I'm gonna try to. We was talking a while ago, trying to outlive my mother and my oldest brother. So I got a few years to go yet.
Well, we're already planning for your 100th, so.
Well, I always figured I wanted to make it to 100. Yeah. But
We can have a 75th wedding anniversary party. I think that's going to be great.
How much has things changed in 90 years? I mean, what was the biggest change in your life in 90 years?
We have LED light bulbs.
But you know how some people,
Yeah.
you know how some people
Phones
say
are, yeah.
technology or whatever. What's the biggest thing in 90 years that you saw that changed? So
well,
Power,
the thing that
refrigeration.
changed the most
Right.
is that
Washing machine.
things have
yeah, that's right.
got more expensive as we go along.
Oh boy, yeah.
Indoor bathrooms.
I was going to say, you can change your house now.
Yeah.
Yeah, indoor bathroom.
And then flush it. You used to be able to do it anyways, but it was a bucket you have to.
You don't go out and build something now without having the county step in and say, hey.
Yeah.